Welcome back to Supernatural Japan, the podcast where folklore, forgotten places, and the supernatural pulse just beneath the surface. I'm Kevin O'Shea, and today we're venturing deep into Japan's spiritual heart, where the living and the dead are said to walk side by side. It's a place where volcanic fumes cloud the air, the earth is scorched and cracked, and the faint sound of footsteps might not belong to the living. This is Osorezan, and it's ominously known as Mount Fear. Located on the northern tip of Honshu, Osorezan is more than just a mountain. It's believed to be one of Japan's entrances to the underworld, a sacred, haunted land where souls pass on or linger. And today we'll uncover Osorezan's history, religious significance, eerie legends, and lingering mysteries. Osorezan's name, literally translating to Fear Mountain, is no coincidence. When you first arrive, the scenery is startling. Imagine a wasteland of white, gray, and black rocks stretching out before you. Sulfur vents hiss and billow, staining the air with a pungent, rotten egg stench. Jagged, volcanic peaks loom in the distance, casting long shadows across the cracked earth. And, at the heart of all of it, the shimmering Lake Usori, a crater lake so still it feels otherworldly. Its waters are pale, milky blue, rich with minerals, so acidic almost nothing can live in it. And locals say that when you stand there, it feels like you're no longer in the world of the living. In Japanese Buddhist belief, death is a journey. And like many cultures, there's an idea of a river separating life from the afterlife. In Japan, this is the Sanzu River. Osorezan is seen as a physical reflection of this myth. Lake Usori symbolizes the Sanzu River itself. To cross its banks means to leave the mortal world behind. In fact, some say the very geography of Osorezan mirrors the Buddhist concept of hell and paradise. The rocky, barren land representing suffering, and the calm waters hinting at peace beyond. The spiritual significance of Osorezan dates back over 1,100 years. Legend tells of a Buddhist monk, Enin, who traveled to China and studied esoteric Buddhism. Upon his return to Japan in the year 862, he was guided by a vision to a sacred site surrounded by mountains and sulfur springs. Enin recognized Osorezan as a gateway between the worlds and founded Bodaiji Temple at its base. And from then on, it became a place of pilgrimage, not only for religious devotion, but for those grieving, searching, and seeking answers from beyond. To this day, the temple remains active, maintained by the Soto Zen sect, and it's home to dozens of statues of Jizo Bosatsu, a guardian deity of travelers, and poignantly, the souls of deceased children. One of the most haunting sights at Osorezan is the presence of small stone piles scattered across the grounds. These are not random. They're offerings, painstakingly stacked by the hands of parents who've lost children. In Buddhist belief, children who die before their parents are unable to cross the Sanzu River. Instead, they're condemned to stack stones on the riverbank for eternity, trying to build a bridge to the afterlife, only for the stones to be knocked down by demons. To ease their suffering, grieving families come here to stack stones in their place, hoping to help their children's soul find peace. And it's said that if you listen closely and the wind whistles between the rocks, you might hear the faint sobbing of these lost souls. Perhaps Osorezan's most unique tradition revolves around the Itako, blind female shamans trained to serve as mediums between the living and the dead. From a young age, these women are taught ritual chants, incantations, and purification ceremonies. And once a year, during the Osorezan Taisai festival, thousands of people gather at the temple grounds for a chance to speak with their deceased loved ones through the Itako. The ritual, called kuchiose, is intimate and emotional. The Itako, often in a trance-like state, channels the voices of the dead, relaying messages of comfort, forgiveness, and unresolved feelings. Skeptics may call it a performance, but for those who've made the pilgrimage, the sense of connection is real. A temporary bridge spanning the gulf between the living and the departed. With such potent spiritual energy concentrated here, it's no surprise that ghost stories swirl around Osorezan. Visitors often speak of strange occurrences, unseen hands brushing past them, shadows flickering in the sulfur mist, or the distinct feeling of being watched. Some even claim to see figures moving across the rocks at twilight, disappearing just before their eyes. Could these be wandering yurei, restless spirits drawn to the mountain's spiritual pull? Or perhaps echoes of those lost, still unable to move on? Whether it's supernatural or the weight of collective grief, few leave Osorezan untouched. Despite its desolate appearance and ominous name, Osorezan isn't solely a place of darkness. It's a place where fear and comfort coexist, where grief is acknowledged and death is not denied but faced head-on. People come here to confront loss, to pray, to find closure, or at least to speak to what remains. In the end, Mount Fear teaches us something quietly profound. The divide between this world and the next may not be as distant. Thank you for walking with me through the sacred, haunting paths of Osorezan, a place where rocks, sulfur, prayers, and spirits converge, and where the echoes of those who've passed continue to linger. If you've enjoyed today's journey, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share Supernatural Japan with fellow seekers of the strange and sacred. Now, of course, all the episodes are also available on the Busan Kevin YouTube channel. And if you have your own supernatural experiences in Japan or anywhere else in the world, please send them to supernaturaljapan@gmail.com. We may just share your story in a future episode. Now, of course, you can follow the podcast and me, Kevin O'Shea, on social media. Come over to Instagram at Supernatural Japan to look at the visuals, to see the visuals of Osorezan, all of the things that I talked about in this episode. Go on over to Instagram and give us a follow there. Throughout the week, there are also other visuals, other posts, pictures of Japan, and things spooky. Videos as well over on the Supernatural Japan Instagram feed. You can follow me, Kevin O'Shea, over on Blue Sky and X at Mad for Maple. You can again email the podcast at supernaturaljapan@gmail.com. And of course, there is a Facebook page as well. All of the links are in the show notes, so please check out those show notes. Until next time, stay curious, tread softly. You never know who or what might be walking beside you.